Two fearful avoidants together is the best friends, mortal enemies dynamic, and here's how it usually plays out. I'm Dr. Sarah Hensley. I'm a specialized social psychologist, and I've been studying attachment science for nearly 20 years. So the two fearful avoidant dynamic is the only attachment dynamic where both people have the same attachment style but can create the anxious avoidant trap. Okay, fearfuls have both an anxious side and an avoidant side to their attachment, and they tend to react opposite of their partner. So if their partner's being anxious, they tend to go avoidant. If they're, being anxious, their partner will tend to go avoidant. And so it's really hard to get on the same page, but I think what kills them the most is the hypervigilance that they have between each other that starts their toxic conflict. So fearful avoidance is born from childhood trauma where, the child essentially looks at one or more of their parents and says, yeah, I can't trust you to show up for me and love me in a way that feels good to me. You just can't get it together. You're not going to be able to do that. And so what gets imprinted into the subconscious is, well, if I can't trust you as my parent, who could I ever trust? So they carry this subconscious, ginormous betrayal wound. And when you have childhood trauma, it makes you hypervigilant. If you had an overly reactive parent, a mentally ill parent, a parent that had a substance abuse issue and was dysfunctional in some pretty clear way, you started, whether you know it or not, studying that parent to see, is it safe to be around that parent, or is it not safe to be around that parent? So you studied facial expressions, tones of voice, behavior patterns. A micro expression on someone's face will alert you to danger very quickly. And that's totally opposite of, say, the dismissive avoidant who has to have a flashing neon sign saying something is wrong before they pick up on it. So something I commonly see between two fearful avoidants is like a micro expression, let's say of frustration. Let's say that you did something and your partner found it slightly annoying in the moment. They may sigh, right? But internally, they're regulating their frustration because they love you and they don't want you to feel like you are annoying or frustrating to them. But they had a real human moment. They had a sigh, okay? Something that they couldn't control, something that was temporary. And it was just the beginning of a process of them trying to really internally work out that frustration and to love you as you are. But the partner will pick up on that sigh and make it a big deal. So the partner will be like, what's wrong? You sighed. Are you annoyed? Are you frustrated? What's wrong? Well, why did you sigh? And they'll be like, nothing. Well, why won't you tell me what's wrong? And before you know it, they are in a toxic fight where they are yelling at each other and low blowing each other about who was annoyed, who was frustrated, why. It's exhausting. And because the fearful avoidant is the most reactive, they tend to be toxic fighters. But they can have this really deep, loving relationship outside of conflict because they share the same deep need to be seen, heard, and understood. If this was interesting to you and you would like to improve your relationship by understanding attachment, see me at my website, thedatingdecoder.com. Don't forget to use code LOVE14 at checkout.